refresh kan.
Okay, I think I live Joe lah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I got it.
So let's admit everybody in. Wait, let me allow participant to unmute. Allow enable. Okay. Not disable meeting room Joe lah.
Okay. All right. Welcome, guys. Hey, wait, give me a moment. Okay. All right. Welcome. Everybody that's on time today. Welcome everyone to our section. Today is a very special day. As you see in our poster, we have none other than the man himself behind the show that will be doing that will be giving us value today, guys. All right. 8 o'clock we have 21 participants. Gary, just do one thing for me. I think you can post the link right now on the chat box. Later I'll just recopy again because I can't seem to copy the link on Google.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Just a moment,
guys. All right, guys, give me a little moment. We have some technical problem here. We also want to reach out to more people. That's why we also be going live on our Facebook page as well. Okay. Guys, seriously, for your people that not in yet, for your friends, your family that you think they're gonna get a great value today, please send the link right now, guys. Because today, like I said, it's a very special day. As you see on our poster, we have the man behind the entire session itself. That's what we have been doing. They've been telling us the value that you'll be selling today. All right, guys. What I learned from the man himself is this, guys. All right. If today the people that you're prospecting, okay, all right, back again. For what I learned from the man himself is very simple. All right, guys. If today people does not buy from you, it just means one thing. All right, guys. You are not delivering the value enough for the prospect to make the decision to buy today. Okay, this is what I always believe in. That's why this session is so important. Gary Gunn will be telling you all the best tips that he will be sharing. All right, these things I learn from him every single day. All right, from lunch, from dinner. All right, because I met Gary Gunn, during lunch, we brainstorm. The man himself, you want to pick his brain, guys. All right, the value that he'll be sharing with you today, has been helping me closing sales after sales after sales, after corporate deals. All this is back to the same thing. How are you delivering the value to your prospect or to your customer? Okay. All right. Okay. We have up to 29 participants right now, and we are live in Facebook, guys. Live in Facebook. Okay. Before I pass the stage to Gary, okay. My name is Jeffrey Leong. I'm one of your hosts today. Okay. And the only thing I want engagement from you guys is very simple. We have 29% today. Before I pass the stage to the floor, let us know who are we talking to, guys. Tell me where are you guys from on the chat box there. All right, come on, engagement, guys. You want to learn from Gary Gunn, you need to have engagement. Tell me where are you guys from, the chat box. Come on, guys. All right, we have 39%. If nobody is engaging with me, I will not pass this stage to Gary. In fact, I will close the seminar right now, guys. Okay, all right, come on. Engagement, guys. Tell me. All right, we have people from Sydney, Australia, Singapore. All right. Oh, today we have people from Kuching. Welcome, Francis, all the way from Kuching. And yeah, hi, Sally, all the way from Malaysia. And Alan Chi from Perth, Johor Bahru, Malaysia. Welcome, guys. And Romeo. Hi, Romeo, from Marikina City. All right, we have 31 people coming in hot. All right, guys. Okay. Our rules in our seminar, in our webinar, is actually very, very simple. You see, me and Gary, we have to purposely rush back here just to host this seminar. And all we want from you is just very, very simple thing, guys. Just turn on your video and let us look at your beautiful faces. All right, guys, during this COVID-19, I get to see all of you from your comfort of your home. And Brick, nice hair color, Brick. I saw your hair. Wow, you're looking young, man. Look great, look great. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, come on, turn on your camera. And second rules is make sure you're at the comfort of your seat because it is a 2-hour section. All right. Gary is gonna delivering power value to you guys. So make sure you're on your comfort seat and start learning from the man himself today. Okay. And third of all, guys, my role today is also very simple. You guys will have a lot of questions, you know, what tips that you want to learn from Gary Gunn, all right? Because seriously, guys, any question you have in your mind, post it on the chat box. I will do a Q&A section with Gary Gunn later, all right? You will have your question answered by Gary Gunn himself today, okay? All right, we have 32 participants. All right, guys, send the link right out now. We are starting right now, okay? And I'll pass the stage over to our speaker of the day. All right, Gary Gunn, over to you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Jeffrey. Guys, let's all give Jeffrey a big round of applause. Amazing. Jeffrey has never failed to perform, you know, and always so willing to help co-host this event with me every Thursday evening so that we can bring more value to our people and to everybody all over the world. Yeah, I can see today we have so many people from so many different parts of the world. And it is my pleasure today to share. Actually, I've always wanted to share about this topic. Some of you all have heard my, how should I say, my live videos most of the time. And I think in one of the live video, I spoke about this topic called selling value. Okay, and the reason why, guys, the reason why I want to share this with all of y'all, because I believe most of y'all, the fact that y'all are on this webinar, the fact that y'all are watching this is somehow you are related in the sales industry, you are doing sales, or you want to get involved in a sales industry, or maybe you are finding some challenges, okay? If those of y'all who are in the sales industry, whether it's network marketing, whether you are in the same industry with me in Kangen, in Energic, just give me a 1, okay? Let's have some two-way feedback kind of thing, okay? If those of y'all who are in the same industry, like you are in the sales industry, give me a 1, okay? Guys, give me a 1 if you are in the sales industry, if you are in the sales business, if you want to improve your selling skills, if you want to, you know, you've heard of a lot of people, you know, they make so many sales, you know, like every day sales seems to be coming in, you know, so effortlessly, like some people struggle to do it. Just give me a 1, okay? Give me a 1. Okay. How come I have so many people in the room, but I only have a few people giving me 1? Can y'all give me more 1? All right. Okay. So anyway, just a little bit background of myself for those of y'all who don't know me, and also the reason why I am making this Zoom webinar to share with y'all the power of selling value for your products and services in your business. Okay, so basically, most of y'all know my name is Gary Gunn, and if I'm not mistaken, I ventured into the sales industry when I was as early as 19. Hey guys, remember this? I mean, a lot of people have gone through, you know, the theory part of selling, right? Like they have gone through college, they have gone through university, they learn about business management and all those things, the theory part of it. But there's this guy here that went straight into the selling industry, into the selling business at the age of 19. Okay, so I started selling at the age of 19. So what was I selling at that early age in my life? Because I didn't, most of y'all heard of my story. I'm just a high school graduate, right? So as soon as I finished my high school, I went into the working world. And one of the most easiest that does not really require at that point of time, we are talking about what we are talking about easily 20, about easily 20, something like 25 years ago. All right, so you know my age, right? We are talking easily about 25 years ago, where there is no internet marketing. There is no Facebook, there is no, you know, like social media kind of thing. So it's the age where, you know, certificate counts. You need to have certificate if you want to go and get a good job, if you want to get a high paying jobs. So for a 19 years old guy that actually just graduate from high school, what other jobs can I find out there? So obviously I went to some sales job, because most of the time, some of these so-called sales jobs do not really require much at that point of time. Okay, I'm talking of about 25 years ago. At that point of time, you don't really need any certification. So I went into selling. At that point of time, I still remember at age 19, I was a cashier and a sales assistant in a pharmacy. Okay, in a pharmacy in Malaysia. Okay, but that one wasn't that much of a selling. That one doesn't really require much of a selling skill, because it's more like just assisting the people who comes in, you know, like they are looking for something, and then I just direct them to look for what they want to buy. That's it. Okay, so it's more like a sales assistant. But the real challenge came after that first job. I went into selling medical equipment. Okay, so I went into a sales job trying to sell medical equipment. Now, at that point of time, the only thing that I know about selling is about selling. Okay, guys, how many of y'all have the same idea with me? Okay, I would really like to have a interaction session with you guys on today's session, so that it's a two-way thing, and you will learn better when you interact with me more. Okay, I want you all to put in the chat button there, what's your idea about sales? Okay, just put in the chat button. Jeffrey will look at it. Just put in the chat message there, what do you all think is your definition of sales? Okay, I can see Mike C says it's conversation. What's your idea about sales? Okay, I can see sharing information, a skill but can be learned. Selling is serving, service. What else? What else is your knowledge about selling? I mean, what's your idea when somebody said sales, when somebody said selling, when somebody talks about, you know, selling something? What is it that comes into your mind? Solving a problem. Laksha Sudhaka said solving a problem. Guys, if you are on Facebook, Live, you can also give me an answer on the Facebook Live. I'm also looking there, over there. Now, at that point of time, when I was selling medical equipment, if I'm not mistaken, I was 20 years old that time. The whole idea that I have about sales is about me. Okay? It's about me. What I mean by it's about me, it's all about me trying to move something, me trying to sell something, me trying to make a commission, me trying to hit my target. Me. It was always about me at that point of time, 20 years ago. So you know what I did? I didn't really care about really the customer, and I was selling medical equipment. Guys, think about this. Think about this. This is really funny when I start to think about it now. Okay, I can start to see from Patricia. It says it's sharing. Brick talks about, what did Brick says? Brick talks about connection. Irene, showing value and benefit of your product. Talking skill, to who you are talking to, from Irene. Okay, and Lena says selling is providing values, building trust, and building relationship. Great. Thank you for your guys. Thank you for your interaction there. That's really amazing. So coming back to myself, at 20 years old, I was selling medical equipment. Guess what? 20 years old guy, no knowledge whatsoever about the product, just only learned the brochure like 2 days earlier. And I was knocking on doors of doctors, you know. Can you imagine 20 years old, don't know anything about the medical industry, about the medical field, and I was really knocking on doors of doctors. But my idea was, okay, now listen, if this is what the mistakes you guys are also making or your people are making. that is not giving you all the results that you want. Okay, so at that point of time, being 20 years old, being very aggressive and hungry, I was thinking, as long as I see the customer, I will be able to sell. In other words, as long as I keep showing them my product, they will buy from me. And if they don't buy from me, it simply means I've not shown them enough. So what I'm trying to say is, at that point of time, my idea is, as long as I see them until they don't like my face, until they hate my guts, they will buy from me. That was my idea at the beginning. Can you imagine, guys, 20 years old guy, that's what I'm thinking. Because why? I've never gone through sales training. I've no experience in sales. I don't know what sales is all about. And that's what I did. Do you know, guys, during my, I think it was 1.5 years career in selling that medical equipment, I literally get nothing much, okay? I sold 1 or 2 machines by luck, by chance. I'm sure you all agree. Do you all agree sometimes you actually get sales by luck or by chance? Do you all agree with me on that? Give me a 2 if you agree. Sometimes you get a sale, not because you did something right, but maybe the guy was already wanting to buy. Maybe the guy was already shopping around, and then boom, suddenly he meets you, and then you sold the machine by chance, by luck, you know. Yeah, I can see so many 2 here. So that was what happened to me at that point of time at age 20. So I was stalking the customers. I was stalking, literally stalking. I was like going after them. I knocked on the doors of every single clinics and hospitals that I know. Some of them literally told the staff nurse, if this young man come to my clinic, tell them I'm not in. Tell them I don't want to see him. Tell this person that we are not interested. To that extent. Why? Because they saw me as a pusher. How many of y'all, okay, honestly tell me this, okay, y'all don't have to be shy about this. Honestly tell me, how many of y'all have really lost your friends because you are doing some form of network marketing? How many of y'all lost your friends because you were doing Kangen business? I mean, let's be honest. If it's you, just put a me there. Put a me there. If you lost your friends, people like blacklist you, or they block your phone, or like maybe in social gathering they don't want to see you anymore. How many of y'all be very practical, be very reasonable? Put a me there. Now, at that point of time, I was like that because they saw me as a pusher. A pusher simply means just a person that wants to sell something to make money for myself. I wasn't interested about that side. I wasn't even interested about them. I wasn't interested if they know me or not. I'm only interested that I sold a product, I make my money, I make my commission. And the more commission I make, the more successful I get. That was my idea in those days. Okay, so guys, seriously, and through the years that passed, from then until I went into an amazing company called Xerox. Okay, how many of y'all have heard of Xerox? Sure, a lot of y'all have heard of Xerox, the photocopier company that has produced many champion marketing and salespeople. Okay, like one of them is Robert Kiyosaki. Until I went into working with Xerox, then I realized that, hey, you know what? Selling is a science. Selling is literally a process. Okay, process. What I mean by process, that means when you do A, B, C, D, E, you are going to get the results. If you don't get the result, it simply means either one of this portion has not been done. So when it becomes a process, this means you are able to control the selling process. That means it's no more by luck. It's no more, it's like you go to the battlefield and you shoot, and then you hit somebody, and then you hit somebody. It's no more like that. Okay. So when I talk about a process and a scientific approach, it simply means you are in control. You know what you are doing, you know how you can get the sale, and you know when you can. Sometimes you can even time to the timing when you can get the sale if you are really that good. and I'm going to teach you the secret of this today. How many of y'all are ready to learn this secret today? Give me a 5. Give me a 5 on the Facebook or on Zoom webinar if you are ready to get this tip today. Okay, I don't usually share this tip, but today because I'm going to do this training, but it's not a comprehensive, it's not a very full detail, because very soon I'll be starting a coaching session. So if you are interested, you may sign up with my coaching session in the very near future. We are putting up a program together. But today's session is just to give you an idea, okay, how to start this off so that, you know, you can bring your sales level to the next level. You can bring your sales result to a level that you really want. You know, like how you see some of these superstars are creating, you know, something that they do that they can, you know, like some people actually say, sell ice to Eskimo. How can you actually even sell ice to Eskimo? You know, and I still remember from the time that I was, I told you all about my 20 years old story, selling medical equipment, right until today, being one of the top producers in Kangen, a top leader in Kangen, and doing so many record-breaking sales activities. Like, for example, a lot of people ask me, Gary, how you managed to even have big number of sales 9 years ago when Enagic doesn't even have an office in Malaysia. Guys, can you imagine? A lot of people actually complain and say that your machine is expensive and things like that. But do you all know that 9 years ago, when there's no office in Malaysia, we were breaking sales record like crazy. There wasn't any financing option. There is no technical support. There is no service support. And yet we are doing sales like crazy. How did we do it? How did I pull that through? Today, I'd like to share some very important tips to y'all so that you know, okay, where you are going. Okay, you know what you are doing wrong, or at least you know what you need to change to have a different results in your sales industry. Okay, guys, so are y'all ready to rock and roll with me? Give me a 1 if you are ready. Okay, give me a 1 if you are ready. Then we'll start the session very, very soon. Okay, let me pull up my PowerPoint. Okay, I can see so many ones there. So all you guys are getting ready. Okay, getting ready. All right, let's do it. Okay, let me share screen here. Okay. Here we go. Oop. Okay. All right. Okay, Jeffrey, are you able to see the PowerPoint presentation? Okay, awesome, beautiful. Okay, so let me, oops. Wait a minute. Ding. Okay, so the power of selling value of your products and services. First and foremost, guys, again, don't do the same mistakes I have done and a lot of other people has done in my early years of my selling career. So the reason why you need to focus on the value is because at the end of the day, it is this one that is going to make the biggest difference. It's not how good. Sometimes a lot of people think, okay, see, before I go on to share with you all this, sometimes there are a lot of people who think that it also has to do with the salesperson. I'm not saying that it has nothing to do with the salesperson. The salesperson, the person who is presenting, is important, but I have seen really lousy, okay? Seriously, a really lousy salesperson. That means probably their English is not that good, or their outlook, their face, or whatever you call the talking, you know, the smoothness of the talking is not that good, and yet they become very good salespeople. So I want you all to know it doesn't really have to matter about sometimes okay, of course, I'm not saying that you need to dress shabbishly. Dress well. Obviously, first impression plays a big role. But I've seen some people who doesn't talk, like there are some people who actually tell me, Gary, I don't speak I don't speak English very well. Doesn't matter. As long as you know how to focus on this tip that I'm going to share with you, you will see your sales results will shoot up the roof. Trust me on this, okay? You will see your sales result shoot up the roof. Now, I want to start off by saying this. Okay, so here we go. So first and foremost, I want you all to know this, okay? Now, in the selling process, there are two parties. Am I right? Always in the selling process, there are two parties. One is the seller, one is the buyer. So I like to always tell people to start thinking before you want to sell something, put yourself on the buyer's shoe. So you know why I want to say this? Because whether you are a salesperson or not, you are somehow a buyer yourself. You have been buying things. You have bought your car, you have bought your house, you have bought food, you have bought clothes, you have bought, something, your handphone, your handphone, you have bought something in your life. So remember, in a sales process, there are always two parties. There is a seller and there is a buyer. Cannot run one. It cannot have a buyer without a seller. You cannot have a seller without a buyer. So always remember this. In a sales environment, there must be a seller and there must be a buyer. So now the point is, I want you all to remember this word. If you have a paper, to write it down, okay? If you have a paper, I want you to write this down in bold letters if you can. The buyer buys, you don't sell. Okay, so what does that mean? The buyer buys, you don't sell. It's very contradicting because the topic of today is about selling, right? But why is it Gary is telling me not to sell? Because ultimately selling is about getting the person to buy. Okay, it's not about you. Again, I want to mention the whole selling process is about the buyer. If the buyer don't buy, you don't have a sale, it's game over. It's zero, nothing. Okay, so you can be the best person on earth, you can have the best product on earth, you have the best opportunity on earth. If the buyer don't buy, it is zero, game over, nothing will happen. Do you understand that? So what I'm trying to say is focus on being the buyer, because the buyer has to buy. So what I mean by this is, what do we look for when we buy something? In other words, okay, I just want to divert your attention to another thing. In my case, I love to attend a lot of sales presentation as a buyer. Guys, listen, as a buyer. Why? Because when I sit in a sales presentation as a buyer, I will be able to judge how effective is that seller to convince me to buy. Can you see? Can you all catch what I'm trying to say? Can you all catch what I'm trying to say? Okay, if you are following me, give me a 2. Can you all give me a 2 if you are following me? I just want to know I'm not losing you guys. Okay, if you are following me, just give me a 2. You can give me a 2 also on the Facebook Live. Okay, now, like for example, I just want to share with you all. Me and my wife very often attends the sales presentation of a very popular timeshare company called Marriott. Have you all heard of Marriott Vacation? So maybe because of me being one of the premium credit card holders, or my spending, amount is very high. So a lot of times these banks like to invite me for this Marriott Vacation timeshare kind of sales presentation, and I love to go. Okay, who doesn't like to go, right? They give me so many free nights and so many goodies thrown in, But apart from going and enjoying, me and my family for this type of holidays, the reason I go is because inside that 3 to 4 days of vacation, there will be a 90 minutes. Okay, there will be a 90 minutes sales presentation where my wife and me have to be there to listen. That is the condition. If you don't sit in for this, they won't invite you for that sales presentation. Both of us as a couple needs to be there. Okay, so one thing I noticed is that when we sit in front of the presenter that presents on behalf of Marriott Vacation, first they will tell you the posture. Okay, the posture is, first they will tell you, Mr. and Mrs. Gan, I just want you all to know, even if you don't buy today, we are okay with it because we are Marriott Vacation. Can you see what I'm trying to tell you? That posture. So when they say that, they are already cutting off that desperation. Have you ever met salespeople that are very desperate? You know, the more desperate the salespeople, the more you don't want to buy from them. Do you agree with me on this? If you agree, give me a 3. If you agree with my statement, give me a 3. The more desperate you meet a salesperson that keep on wanting, hey, please buy from me, please, want to buy, you know, the more you will actually reject them, push them. Do you realize that? Do you agree with me? Give me a 3 if you agree with me. I can see so many numbers of 3 flying out there, right? So when I saw this sales presentation by Marriott Vacation, then I realized, oh, I feel comfortable as a buyer because of what they say. So remember, again, your role is to assist, is to do whatever you can to get the buyer to buy. You don't push, you don't push it down his throat. You don't take your product or your services or your business opportunity and push it down his throat, take a knife and ask them, you better buy now. No, your role is to do something that I am willing to take out my money and pay you and buy your product or join your business opportunity or pay for your services. That's what you want to do. So when one of the example that I shared with you is when I attend Marriott Vacation and I sat there, the first thing they say is, you know what, guys, Mr. and Mrs. Gan, even if you don't buy from me today, it's okay because we are Marriott Vacation. In other words, he's telling me, I am so confident of my product. If you don't want to buy, it's your loss, not my loss. It's your loss. I don't lose anything. That is the kind of confidence. So guys, I don't know. You may want to tell your potential buyer in the future, maybe your prospect, you know, at the front of the presentation, just before you start anything. You know why? You want to give them a relaxed feeling that says, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. or Billy or James or Margaret or Vanessa or whatever, you know what? Just to let you know, I'm going to do a presentation for you, but just in case if you don't buy today, it's okay because we are you know. So when you say that, it gives you that level of confidence that, hey, I have something good for you. If you don't buy, it's your loss, not my loss, not our loss. Okay, so this is the first thing that I want to share with you. Guys, remember this. Put yourself in the buyer's shoe. Today, when you go out and try to pitch a sale, you are going out to try to get a sale. Ask yourself this, if you were to do what you do and you are now the buyer, would you buy from you? Ask yourself this. Most people don't think about this, but I do this very often because I know if I am the buyer, I won't buy from me. How do I expect that guy to buy from me, right? So ask yourself this, first and foremost, would you buy from you if you are doing what you are doing? Okay, so it's very important. First one, put yourself in the buyer's shoe. Second thing, what problems are you solving? Now, guys, okay, remember, what is sales? Okay, sales is all about the buyer. It's all about the customer. It's all about the other party. And I keep talking a lot of times in a lot of my live video, in a lot of my training. The whole idea of our existence as a business owner, as a sales professional, is to make sure that that person buys something from us. Okay, when I said they buy, means they are going to exchange their asset. Their asset is called money lah. Okay, it's money. So why do they want to take out their money and give it to us? Remember, guys, it's all about them because we are able to solve their problem. Now, if you got nothing, if they don't have, if number one, if you cannot solve their problem, if they don't have a problem, my friend, Can I ask you a question? Why would anybody want to give you money? Ask yourself this question. If they don't have a problem or you cannot solve their problem, why would they want to give you money? Why would they want to exchange their hard-earned money, which is their asset? Some of these people work like 12 hours, 8 hours a day just to save that money, their hard-earned money, and now they're going to give it to you. Why would they want to give you a single dime, a single cent, if they don't have a problem or you cannot solve their problem? Now you think about this, okay? Imagine, let's say if Mike, I can see Mike C is there. Mike, if you don't have a piping problem, why would you want to pay a plumber to fix your pipe? If you don't have a problem, there's no reason to, okay? So there's two things here. One, the customer must have a problem. Two, you must be able to solve their problem. If the customer doesn't have a problem or you cannot solve their problem, my friend, there is no reason why they must give you money, and means there is no reason why they must buy from you, okay? But don't worry, okay? There are some people who actually tells me this, Gary, but my customer don't have a problem to my solution. Actually, the trick is there is a way to create the problem. Okay, but of course that is a very deep, that is a much deeper training that I will do in my coaching session next time. If you join my coaching session, I will share with you on that. Okay, but first and foremost, there is a way. Okay, but remember that without their problem and without you solving their problem, there is no way they are going to pay you. I don't care if you have the best product in the world. Even if you have the product, let's say, I'm just saying this as an example. Even you have a cure for cancer. Listen, listen very careful. Even if you have a cure for cancer, but you meet somebody that doesn't have cancer, and I don't care, your cancer treatment can be the best in the world, he won't pay you a single cent. Why? Because he doesn't have cancer. And if he doesn't have cancer, why must he even pay you $1 for something he doesn't need? Okay, unless you can tell him about some other story, that is another thing. But as far as him buying the product, which is a cancer cure, he won't buy it from you. He won't even give you $1 because he doesn't have it and he doesn't need it. Okay, so remember, what problems are you solving? Focus on this. So now I know most of y'all, whether you're on Facebook or you are on webinar, we are in the Kangen business. Okay, we are in Kangen. Okay, Kangen is water, but don't forget, we are not just only water. We are also in the wealth building. Okay, so a lot of people are this another session I'll talk in another day. A lot of people only focus, the moment they know about Kangen, they only focus on the water, but they forgot that we have another product called the ATM machine. All right, so that's another day. I'll talk about this. But again, what problems are you solving? Remember this, guys. Have a paper there. You might want to write this down. There are two things. If you cannot solve their problem or they don't have a problem, they will not buy from you. It's as simple as that. And in order, okay, to solve their problem, or in order to even know their problem, the third thing is very important. Okay, be a superstar listener. Be a superstar listener. You can only solve a problem if you know them. Okay, it may sound simple, guys. I mean, again, I want to say this. A lot of all these things are not NASA scientist kind of information. A lot of things that I'm going to present to you is very, very related to our everyday life. Because remember, guys, you are either, listen very carefully. You may want to write this down. You, in your lifetime, you are either a salesperson or you are a buyer. You are either one every single day of your life. Remember this. You are either selling something or you are buying something. You cannot be neutral. Imagine if today you go out and you want to buy something, you are a buyer. Or tomorrow you go out, you want to sell something, whether it's your Kangen water or you are in insurance or you are in property, whatever it is, you are a seller. So you are either a buyer or a seller. You cannot be neutral. Okay, you are either a seller or buyer. Because if you are like my children, then it's different, but most of you are quite adult, right? So you are buyers. So remember, learn to listen. Okay, that's the reason why if you look at your face, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. 2 ears and 1 mouth simply means you need to listen more than you talk. Okay, now I know, okay, most of y'all know that Gary loves to talk. I love to talk a lot. But then again, I realized when I went through the sales process, I was told and I was taught the importance of listening. Because again, I want to bring you all back to this. It's always about the buyer. It's always about solving their problem. It's always about knowing what they need and what they want. Then you can start to offer your solution, because again, it's about them, not about you. I know you are after your commission. I know you are after your ranks. I know you're after your achievement. But if the end of the day, the customer don't pay you, there is no sale, there's no transaction, there's no business. So you need to know what's going on in their life. You need to know their problems, their pain, their need, their wants, to be able to provide something that you have to them. Okay, so what I want you all to know is you need to be a superstar listener. So what I usually do in this area is every time I meet a new person, for example, yesterday I was going to KL Hilton, okay, to have a lunch with one of my friends, and I went on, I took a Grab. Okay, I like to take a Grab because it gives me a great opportunity to meet people, especially Grab drivers. Very interesting. We always have good conversation. So the first half an hour when I was sitting in his Grab, I was just letting that man talk, you know. It's just like he's talking, you know, he's telling me about his family, telling me about his work, his career, you know, and even if I talk, I ask questions. Okay, guys, I'm not saying that, you know, you just need to zip up and be quiet and like, you know, like the fella is talking to the wall. I'm not saying that. If ever you want to talk, okay, in the sales process, if ever you want to talk, ask questions. You know why? You know why asking questions is so important? Because when you start to ask questions, that's where information keeps coming out. That's where you get questions like, what's their problem? What are the things that they need to solve in their life? What are the things that they need? What are the things that they want? What's the pain in their life that they need to really solve it immediately? If they don't solve it, it's going to be even more painful every single day. Now, all these things will only come if you are able to listen and keep asking the right question. Okay, so it's just like, I love this example. It's just like when you go and see a doctor. Okay, when you go and see a doctor and you sit in front of the doctor, what does the first thing the doctor do? The doctor asks you questions, right? The doctor don't just simply look at you and assume that you have this problem, I'm going to give you this. Like everybody that is sick and walks in, oh, he has diabetes, and then I give you diabetic medication. The doctor will be in big trouble, right? So the doctor don't do that. Do you all realize this? When you go and see a doctor and you sit in front of the doctor, the first thing, what does the doctor say? Hey, what's wrong with you today? Tell me. Keep on saying, tell me what you eat. Tell me this. Tell me. Why is the doctor doing that? Why does the doctor want to know all this? Because the doctor wants to know your problem. The doctor wants to know your pain. The doctor wants to know what is the thing that he can solve for you. That's why he's asking you this question. So guys, be a superstar listener. Ask question and listen. A lot of people, they just ask 1 or 2 questions, then they shoot like machine gun. Okay, the more information you can hear, the more information that you can gather will lead you to a successful sales, because you then know what you need to talk more. Okay, later on in today's presentation, I'll share with you, because there are a lot of people who ask me, Gary, should I lead by business or should I lead by product? So this is very important. This part here, that you need to listen, you need to ask questions, and you need to listen. Very important. All right. So today, being, I believe most of you are in Enagic, in Kangen, I'd like to bring an example of how selling value is in the Enagic Kangen business. All right. So the amount there is basically in US dollars. So since it's going to be an international crowd, so instead of using Malaysia ringgit, I just changed all those into US dollars. So I still remember, okay, I still remember when I started in this business 9 years ago. Can you imagine? Time flies so fast, right? Okay, but before that, let me just stop share here first. Okay, before that, let me just stop share here. Okay, guys, Jeffrey, are there any questions so far before I go on?
Yeah, there's no questions so far, Gary. You can move on. Move on.
No question, no question. Then I like to ask question one, you know, because
Yes, okay.
looks kind of funny. It looks kind of funny if I keep talking for 1-2 hours and nobody feedback to me. Okay, let me just see. Yeah, okay, I can see some. Okay, thanks, Mike, for reiterating the things that I'm talking. Okay. Anyway. I believe most of y'all are in Enagic, in Kangen here. So the examples that I'll be using from now on to show you about the selling of value is going to be based on Kangen, okay? So at least you have an idea how you can move your sales to the next level. Are you interested to know how you can actually move your sales results to the next level, guys? How many of you are interested? Give me a 2. Give me a 2 if you are interested to know how you can move your sales process to the next level. All right, awesome, fantastic, yeah. Okay, so let me go again. All right. Okay, so here we go. So you see, I still remember when I started my career in Enagic in Kangen, and you know, it was like 9 years ago. Those days, Enagic, Kangen wasn't really that heard of in Malaysia. And, you know, a lot of people, when they hear about this price, 5,000 US dollars, Malaysia, we were doing it. In the early days, it was 12,000 ringgit. And then now it's about 14,000 ringgit. So a lot of people is like, can you look at the facial expression of these people? It looks like, wow, they can even fit a golf ball. Can you see the guy here on the right side? He can even put the golf ball into the mouth, right? Like, what? Are you crazy? Are you mad? $5,000 for a water machine? What kind of, what kind of crazy price is this? You know, then some people say, oh yeah, it's an overpriced water filter. It's expensive because it's MLM, it's network marketing. Oh, it's a scam, you know. So those days, in the early days, when you know, like especially in Malaysia, people haven't heard of Kangen water, right? And then I mean, we cannot be selling cheaper price because the price is fixed at that price. So what else can you do, right? So then what happened is I have to come up with some idea on how we can really hit the market even with this price, okay? But I realized that price usually is not an issue, okay? So $5,000 was never an issue, guys. How many of y'all agree with me? I don't know, in your Aussie dollar, in your Norwegian currency, in your Philippine peso. I know Philippine peso, the K8 is 200 and close to 250,000 peso, you know. Now, how many of y'all agree that $5,000 is not an issue? Just put there me. If you agree that 5,000 was never an issue. I want to see how many of y'all agree with me. How many of y'all agree that 5,000 was never an issue? Okay. Wow, I can see so many of y'all agree, right? Yeah, it's a lot of money. To some people, it is a lot of money. In Philippine peso, is 250,000. The K8 in Cambodia is 5,700 US dollars. Yes, I know it's a lot of money, but remember, there's a difference between a lot of money and expensive. When people say it is expensive, this is something I want to share with you all later, okay? When somebody say your product is expensive, How are you going to counter them? I'll share with you all. Okay, I'll share this tip with you all. Okay, very simple. Now, 5,000 was never an issue. Why? I give you an idea. Because it's all about perceived value. Everybody has a perceived value of an item. It's not about the money. So some people actually tell me, he says, Gary, 5,000 is not an issue if it's a rich person. Who says so? How many of y'all have even come across a rich person who tells you that 5,000 dollars for a Kangen machine is expensive? How many of y'all? Put there me. How many of y'all have come across rich people that tells you that Kangen machine is expensive? Put there me. Put me. Let me see how many of y'all have experienced that. Okay. Even rich people, I'm not saying middle or poor. I'm talking about even rich people is telling you that $5,000 is expensive for Kangen. How many of y'all? See, I can see there are so many people that are putting their me, right? I can see even on the Facebook. You see, it's not a matter of whether you are rich, middle, or poor. Everybody is governed by a perceived value in their head. In their head, everything that is a value, you must always remember that, this is human psychology. Everything that is a value, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, if you look at this, now, if that person knows that this Rolex watch is $5,000, and mind you, this is real Rolex, comes from Switzerland, Geneva, not Rolex from China, okay? Now, if this diamond encrusted Rolex watch that is usually at least $50,000, and if this thing is going for sale for 5,000, I can guarantee you people will be lining up to buy this watch. I can guarantee you, bet you my bottom dollar, especially those who knows about the value of Rolex, those who are watch collectors, those who are jewelry collectors. They look at the number of diamonds, they look at this model of the Rolex watch, and this is easily $20,000 to $50,000, and now it's going for sale for $5,000. They will line up, they probably will line up for 24 hours just to buy this watch. Do y'all agree? If you agree, give me a 2. Do y'all agree that people who knows the value of this watch at 20,000 now is selling for 5,000 will line up and buy it? Okay, give me a 2. You see, you can see the numbers there, right? Everybody knows. Why? Because they know the value of Rolex. So what's the big deal? 5,000 for watch. But you and I know that for 5,000, nobody will buy a Seiko watch. What's the difference? What's the difference? Are you telling me a 5,000 Rolex watch tells the time 1 hour faster than a Rolex watch, than a Seiko watch? No, right? It doesn't make sense, right? So the watch tells the same time, but how come one is willing to pay $5,000 for this watch, whereas you are only willing to pay $100 or $200 for another brand of watch? Why? Because everybody, I want to demonstrate to you that everybody have that perceived value in their head. Okay, a perceived value in their head. Everything there's a perceived value. When they tell you, when the word come out, it is expensive, means there is a perceived value. Why do they say expensive? Because there is a perceived value. They won't say expensive if there is no perceived value in the head. So remember that. Okay. Likewise, look at this. Now, let's say that car that you see that is a real car. I'm not talking of the toy car. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking of the toy car. It's a real Mercedes SLR. And this car, you and I know, is easily $350,000 or $500,000. I'm not sure. I'm not a car enthusiast anyway. So it's either $350,000 to $500,000. And now this car is going for $5,000. Real, everything is real. There's nothing wrong with the car. Brand new. Let's say it's brand new. Would you agree with me? How many of y'all will agree with me? There will be a line so long that probably it may take you 36 hours just to line up to get this car. Am I right or not? If you agree, give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you agree with me. This car going for $5,000. See, I can guarantee you, if you know the value of this car and you don't have the money, you will beg, borrow, or steal just to get this car. Why? Because again, there is a perceived value. You perceive it, you know. Okay, you see, the funny thing is nobody will complain a Mercedes. Let's say I'm not talking about sports like this. An average Mercedes-Benz, let's say, I don't know, 100,000 or $200,000. Nobody complains it's expensive. But that same 100 and 200,000, the car, you put it onto a Honda, let's say, nothing wrong with a Honda. Honda is a good car. But it's when you put 100,000 onto a Honda, then you say it's expensive. Why? Both are cars, right? Both has 4 tires, both has steering wheel, both has aircon, both has seats, both has seat belt. Both can take you from point A to point B. Why would that same 100,000 be normal for a Mercedes, but that 100,000 you put it onto a Honda, you think it's expensive? Again, people have that perceived value in their head. Okay, so you must always remember, the next time when you're talking to somebody, always remember that they have a perceived value of your product. When the moment they voice out that your product is expensive, it's nothing wrong with them. Don't think that there's something wrong, like you're talking to an alien. No, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they have a perceived value of your product. But don't worry, after this, I'll show you how to change that perceived value, how to counter it, how to add value to your thing, how to sell value. And they will literally buy from you, even though it can be even more. They will buy from you, I guarantee you. Okay, I guarantee you this. Okay, so the same thing, people will pay 5,000 even for this car. Of course, it's not logic. Like everybody will tell me, you know, Gary, no way, you know, a car like this. Not even Mercedes, like, even if you say a Honda, where got car is only $5,000. Yes, it's true. But I'm telling you this, everybody has a perceived value. So the third one, the last example, I just want to just give you all this so that you really understand where I'm coming from, is this. Okay, will you pay $5,000 for this villa? How many of y'all will pay? Give me a 6. Give me a 6 if y'all will pay $5,000 for this villa. How many of y'all will pay? Looks like a joke, right? Hey guys, I'm telling you the truth. It's not a toy villa. It's the real deal, okay? 30,000 square feet of land with a villa and a swimming pool. How many of y'all, give me a 6 if y'all will pay 5,000 for this villa? You know, guys, I want to share this very interesting story, true story. I want to share this. One time I did a seminar and I presented this training, you know, and I still remember, I think it was in China, if I'm not mistaken, either in China or in Cambodia, I forgot. It's either in one of these countries. And I asked, how many of y'all will pay 5,000 for this villa? You know what was the answer or not? And I was so shocked and I laughed all the way at the end. You know why? Because when I asked this question, I said, how many of y'all will pay 5,000 for this villa? And I told them it's a real villa. You know, every one of them told me, no, I won't pay. And I said, hey, what's wrong with y'all? It's $5,000 only for a villa. It's a real deal. You know what they told me? They said, if a villa as big as this, as beautiful as this is only 5,000, something is wrong. It's a haunted house. That's what they told me, you know. So, you know, probably I think it's in China, if I'm not mistaken. They say, you know, if a house that costs 5,000 so beautiful, it must be something wrong. It's a haunted house, you know. So yeah, I mean, I just laugh it off, you know. But you know what I'm talking about. People will beg, borrow, or steal if a property like this is 5,000. Even if it's 50,000, people will beg, borrow, and steal. So what I'm trying to say, why when people say 5,000 property is not cheap, it's not expensive. 5,000 car is not expensive. 5,000 watch, Rolex, diamond encrusted, not expensive. But why when people see a water machine at $5,000, people say it's super expensive. Why? Again, it's a perceived value. So the point I'm trying to say is, so what is the real issue? What is the real issue, my friend? The issue is not the 5,000. The issue is because the lack of knowledge about Kangen water is the real issue. See, again, I want to say this. Unfortunately, Energic Kangen water, as good as it is, as amazing. Okay, most of you who are on this call that are in Kangen, you know what I'm talking. I don't need to sell you about Kangen anymore. You know how good it is. But unfortunately, Kangen is not on the billboard. Kangen is not everywhere like you see LV bags, you know, you see Mercedes, you see Rolex, you see all these branded stuff. It's not like that. And because Kangen is not everywhere, not on the billboard, not in the shopping mall or things like that, people don't know what it is. And when they don't know what it is, means there's a lot of question mark. They don't know, right? So when you don't know something, how can you tell me what is a good price? You know, when somebody asks me, Gary, do you know what is the price of a diamond? I know it's expensive, but I know it's high price, but I don't know what is the fix, because I don't know what is it. I'm not a jeweler. I'm not a jeweler. Okay, so I don't know what is a good price for diamond. So remember, when people have lack of knowledge of your product, that is when a price comes out like this, they will say it's expensive. It's not expensive because they don't have the money. Again, I want you all to know this. A lot of people always say that, oh, my product, they don't have the money to. It's not about the money, guys. Listen, it has never been about the $5,000. It's not about the money. I have seen people with no money buying the machine. Guys, seriously. How many of y'all have seen people that are very average, very ordinary, and yet they buy the machine, even though they don't make a lot of money? If you agree, you have seen people like this, put me there for me. If you have seen people that are very average, not really rich, not driving Mercedes or sports car, and yet they buy Kangen machine, give me a me there. There you see, you can see it. It's not about people having the money or not. The question is, do they have the right perceived value of what you can do? Remember, I talked about the problem solving. Remember, I talked about if they have a problem. So if they don't have a problem, or you cannot solve their problem, or they think that you cannot solve their problem, 5,000 is going to be super duper expensive. That's what I'm talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying? So 5,000 is a big problem if they don't know what is your thing all about. So today, I want to share with you the lack of knowledge about Kangen water, about the Kangen business, about Energic as a company, about the heartbeat of Mr. Oshiro. All these things, the lack of this knowledge is the real issue. It has never been the 5,000. Afterwards, I'm going to share with you a few pointers. You will know that actually Energic in Kangen, it is so cheap. And I want to use the word cheap. Cheap, not that the product is lousy. Cheap means it's so affordable that people don't see it that way. That's why they think it's expensive. All right? Okay. They think it's all the same. Look at all this. What are all these? Some looks like a water ionizer. Some looks like a water filter. I mean, come on, guys. You probably looking at this webinar, you know everything about Kangen. You know how good is Kangen. But I'm telling you, do you all know that there are a lot of people out there, they know nothing about Kangen. They know nothing about alkaline or even ionized, or even you call it electrolyzed reduced water. They don't know anything, guys. We are talking about people on the street. We are talking about your family members. We are talking about your relatives. We are talking about your childhood friend, your classmates, your working colleague. Hey, they have never even been to a Kangen presentation. They don't know what is Kangen. And then when you tell them it's 5,000, sure, they think it's expensive, because look, what is out there in the market? There is all these other different water devices. So everyone, remember I told you, right? Everyone have a perceived value. So when they see your product costs that much, they think is one thing, it's expensive. Then they try to justify why it's expensive. You know what? When they go and do Google search, then they find out, oh yeah, because it is network marketing. It is MLM. That's why it's expensive, because very high payout. They pay out to the distributor. It has nothing to do with that. That is what that's written in the Google or the internet. But is it really that's the point? Is not. So you as the professional salesperson, you as the business owner, you as the Kangen distributor need to know what to do if you are in this situation. You need to know what to do. And here are some tips on what you need to do. Are you all ready to know the tips? Give me a 2 if you are ready to know the tips. Give me a 2 if you are ready to know the tips on how you can be different from every other salesperson, every other business owners, and you can get your sales result to the next level. Give me a 2 if you are ready to receive the different tips here. Okay? All right. I can see so many. Wow, there are so many people also now on Facebook Live. Okay, so those who comes in, those who have just joined us, I welcome you all. Okay, so we'll be sharing how you can bring your sales result to a new, different level. Okay, here we go. So the solution is very simple, guys. Now, remember, I want you all to remember again, the whole idea in selling in your sales career, the whole idea in your sales career is to get the customer to buy from you. Remember, you don't sell, the customer buy. You don't sell, the customer buy. Simply means your role is to get the customer to buy from you. Your role is to get the customer to buy from you. So now you know one of the biggest challenge here is the perceived value, because the customer has the lack of knowledge of what Energic and Kangen is all about. That's why that 5,000 is a big challenge. That's why a lot of people telling me, oh, 5,000 expensive. Actually, it's not expensive. If you know how to counter that, if you know how to tell them, if you know that the problem is bigger than that 5,000, that's the solution. So here, I want to share with you a few tips and solutions. Number 1, you must be knowledgeable about Energic and Kangen water. Now, how many of y'all have experienced or guilty yourself that you want to do this business and yet you don't want to learn? How many of y'all have come across? Okay, don't be shy. You can just put there, me. You can just put there me. I mean, I won't mention your name. How many of y'all have come across people who wants to do the business but don't want to learn the business? They don't want to know about who Energic is, what is Kangen water all about. Now, remember, guys, why is it so important that you need to know your product? Again, it's not about you, but you need to know your product strong enough so that you can solve that person's problem. Remember, sales is about solving the person's problem. Business is about solving people's problem. If they don't have a problem or you cannot solve their problem, then you don't have a sale, you don't have business. Remember? So what I'm trying to say is, the tip number 1 is you must have knowledge. So if you come to a situation like this that people say, oh, Kangen water is just like one of those water filter out there. It's just like one of those water machine out there. Do you know how to counter it? Now, if you don't have enough knowledge, you don't have enough facts, you don't have enough bullet to justify why Kangen is much, much better, then you can't solve their problem. Then of course that 5,000 is going to be very expensive. Of course, that perceived value that, oh, is the same with that ABC product out there. Yes, because you don't have enough knowledge. Remember, your role is to tell them why you are different. This is your product advantage. So first, you must be knowledgeable. So in that aspect, if you are building a team, if you want to have your team members, if you want to have your partners to be effective as well, you must make sure that you keep on doing a lot of meetings, a lot of presentation, a lot of training to at least equip your people with this knowledge. Because if your people don't have this knowledge, they are not going to be able to sell. they are not able to get their buyers to buy. Simple. Okay, you need to equip them, and you yourself need to be equipped with the proper knowledge about Energic and Kangen. Why I put Energic and Kangen water? Because you must also be knowledgeable in the business. Guys, remember, Kangen is not just only about this water. Okay, if you guys are only focused in talking about the water machine, then you have missed out big time in the Kangen business. Because in Energic, it is actually a money-making machine, legitimate money-making machine that can give you unlimited income. So if you only focus on that one portion, then you have actually missed out a big portion in the business, whereby people, especially now with the COVID-19, everybody needs our solution, which is finance, which is getting more income, which is having better lifestyle, better freedom, spend time with the family. Okay, so the knowledge about Energic and Kangen is very important, very important. First thing you must have. Second thing, know what's their hot button. Okay, you remember, guys? Do you all remember that I mentioned just now about you must be a good listener? You must be a superstar listener. You all remember I mentioned just now? Why? Because you see, ask yourself this question. You don't need to trust me or believe me, guys. You don't need, but during the time that you yourself, I'm talking you, when you yourself planning to buy something, what is your hot button? I'm very sure you have your hot button. Now you put yourself as a buyer. What's your hot button? Now, if the seller is able to present something that is hitting your hot button, you will buy. But if that, I mean, a few days ago, about 2 days ago, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. No. It was 2 days ago. A insurance salespeople come to see me. Obviously, they didn't know what is my hot button. Okay, they are presenting just like a robot. You know, they are just presenting just like everybody is just. I'm just doing my quota. I just need to present to 100 people a day, and I just present. They didn't even ask me what is my need, what is my problem do I have, you know, my financial needs, my financial plan. Never. They didn't ask me anything. They immediately sit down, they took out a piece of A4 paper and started presenting their plan to me. The whole thing lasted only half an hour. Then when they asked me, what do I think? I said, well, I don't think it's something that I want now. Thank you very much. And they left. Do you want to have this happen to your Kangen or your sales business? No, right? Why? Because they don't even bother to ask me, hey, what I'm looking for, what's my goal in the next 5 to 10 years, what's my priority, is it my family, my children, myself, how's my health, what is my financial. They didn't ask me all this. They just sit down, took out the A4 paper, started presenting. So guys, remember this, people will buy from you if you know what is their priority, if you know what is their problem, if you can solve their problem, if you know their pain point. And the bigger the problem, the bigger the pain point, the more painful that they have, the faster they will buy from you, guys. Remember this. If you have a paper, you may want to write this down. So it is your role sometimes. Sometimes, do you know that there are a lot of people, they don't know they have a certain problem? Do you know that? How many of y'all agree with me? You can put me there. Do y'all agree with me? Some people, they don't even know their own problem. Or maybe they don't know how big their problem is. For example, I know of people, they have financial problem, and yet they are spending like there's no tomorrow. Because why? They don't know how big their problem is going to be should something happen to y'all. Do y'all agree with me? Just put a me there. If you agree, if you're on Facebook, you may also want to put a me there also. Okay, if you have come across people that you meet that they know there is a problem, but they don't know it's so big, the problem. They don't know eventually it's going to be like death, you know. So your role, guys, number one is to know what's their hot button. Okay, how do you know about their hot button? Again, the answer is ask. Just like a doctor, ask. ask about their health, ask about their wealth, their family, everything. So that when there are certain things when you ask and they tell you more, those are their hot button. So guys, a lot of people ask me, Gary, should you talk about product or should you talk about business, especially in Kangen? Now, in my case, if I were to go in, usually is business, but it's not always the case. Of course, I usually lead by business. That's my first priority. But before I decide to just go in and lead by business, I usually will ask them their hot button. So when I know that their pain point is more on the health part, I will still talk about the business, guys. Don't get me wrong. I never leave a presentation without the business, because to me, it's always the business, because my business is all about presenting business. But if they talk about health as their major issue, I will go a little bit more about health, because that's their hot button. I want them to see the value of my product towards their problem, which is health. Okay, so know what's their health, what's their hot button. Okay, you can only know if you keep asking questions, keep on asking questions, keep on. You see, when you ask question, you want to, don't just ask one question and give a solution. Now, this is another thing that I learned. A lot of people just ask one question and they give 10 solutions. Hey guys, sometimes there are a lot of things the customer may not tell you at one go. If you only ask them one question, the problem could be only 5%. But there are 95% of the problem that is so painful that they probably will immediately buy your product from you. Immediately, maybe on the spot, even if your product is 5,000. But because you only ask one question, he only gave you a 5% problem. Then you start to give him 10 different solutions that you have, and that is not maybe what he's looking for. That's why a lot of people also lose sales this way. Okay, they ask one question, the customer give one problem. That one problem is probably only 5% of his problem. And then you start to offer your solution. It is not time yet. You may want to go dig in deeper until the customer feel the pain. Wow, he say, wow, if I don't change today, I may die. If I don't change today, I may lose all this money. If I don't change today, I may have this big problem. I think I better do something today. You want the customer to go to that part. You want the customer to go to the point that he says, I need to change now, not tomorrow, now. So in order to do that, you need to dig. You become like a tractor, you keep digging until that problem is like 100% of the customer. And he feels the pain so much that he says, okay, that's it. Tell me how I can get your thing, how I want to start with your thing, because I need it now. If I don't have it tomorrow, I'm going to die. I mean, of course, it's not to that lah, but if you are able to hit the hot button so much that they need to change right now, they will change. All right. So guys, tip number 2, know what's their hot button. Ask them. Okay, ask them. And because remember, we are solving people's problem. If you are able to solve their problem, they will give you the money. 5,000. Even what? I know of people selling even on internet $50,000, and he can sell just like that. Why? It's not about the 50,000. It's not about 10,000. It's not about 5,000. The difference is because he's able to make you feel that pain and that urgency to change. So remember, your buyer, your customer, your potential prospect needs to feel the pain and that urgency to change. And that's why they will buy from you. If there is a pain but no urgency, he may buy. Maybe take 1 year, 2 years, 10 years to buy lah. But you don't want that, right? You want the sale now. So if you want the sale now, there must be not just only pain, but there must be an urgency to change. That urgency will give you the sale. Remember, that urgency for that customer to take out the wallet, bring out the credit card, that is the moment that you will get the sale. If the customer is only just listening, just like seeing a movie, just like watching you talk and you talk, but there's no urgency to actually take out the wallet, pull out the credit card, there's no sale. And again, it will lead to zero. So what you want is not just presenting your thing, but it's so painful for the customer that he will take out the wallet. He will take action. He will at least take action to buy, to do something, to change, to get the solution that you have. All right, guys? So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3. Now, this is the thing that we do very well from day one. I started 9 years ago until now. Always have stories to tell. Now, I don't know if you guys buy into this, but this is really important, especially in the internet age today. Have stories to tell. Even if you don't have your own story, tell people's story. The last thing you want is to bore and to stress your customer down with all the technical terminology. Like you said, you know, your Kangen water microcluster go into aquaporin, and then the cell dehydration. Whoa, all that. I'm telling you, everybody buy because of a story. How many of y'all agree with this point number 3? People buy because of a story. Give me a 3. Give me a 3 if you agree with me that people buy because of story. Give me a 3. Let me see how many of 3. Let me see how many 3. If you're on Facebook, you can also give me a 3. You can just press on Facebook, you know. Give me a 3 if you believe that. I can see so many 3s coming out, right? Yeah. Because why? There is a saying, facts tell. You know, the facts of your product, the facts of your company, it will only tell. It's like a telling is an information, but it just tell. But story, listen, story sell. And I still remember all I did in my first 6 months, I think I became a 6A. Guys, those of you who are in Enegic, you will know what 6A is all about. We have an accumulated sales of 100 machines. I became a 6A in 4 months, okay? I became a 6A in 4 months. And I'm talking about the time when even Malaysia don't have an office, okay? So don't have an office, no easy payment. People have to pay cash and the machine has to come from Hong Kong. You know, at times like this, I became a 6A in 4 months. And I remember all I did, okay? All I did was telling stories. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a, you know, like a science person. So what I did was I need to talk. I told myself, and because of my sales background, I told myself that I need to talk about things that relate to people. So people have health issues. People have financial issues. People have mindset issues. So when I was relating to them about what I do and how I can solve their problem, I was just talking about story. So when I know what is their hot button, let's say their hot button is about health, and I know what is it that's bothering them. Of course, I don't make health claims. I just say, hey, you know what? There are people who actually drink this water and they have seen some changes in their health. Look, so I didn't even show anything. I just showed them pictures. You know, these are some of the pictures that we used to show. You know, we used to show this. I mean, in the early days, what do we have? We don't even have proper, I mean, when I started Enegic, there wasn't many things on Facebook. In fact, people don't even use Facebook at that point of time. We are talking about 2011. I mean, Facebook wasn't popular at that point of time. So I still remember I used to carry an iPad and I was just showing all these photos. I was showing all these photos and people believe. Not only they believe, they are willing to take action. And when they took action, sales comes in. And sales just keep coming in. And it was always stories. Okay, those of y'all who have joined me from day one, you know, most of my talks, after all the presentation, I talk about story. I talk about my story. I talk about that person's story. If you all remember my late upline, Andrew, the Iron Head, I talk about the Iron Head story. It was always the stories, and the story sells, guys. Now, I want to tell you all this again, especially those of y'all who are interested to sell business. How many of y'all here are interested to sell the Enegic business? Okay, how many of y'all, just put a me there. If you are interested to sell Enegic business, put a me there, put a me there. If you are interested to sell Enegic, because a lot of people are very good in selling the product, but a lot of people just somehow have challenges in selling the business. I'm an expert in selling business. Okay, so if those of y'all who want to learn about selling the business, okay, this is the person. Okay, now it's actually very simple. You see, I always tell people this. If you really want to sell the Energic business, you must have your story. And I noticed this for so many years that I've been doing network marketing business. I realized that everybody is just selling the company story. Like for example, in Energic, in Kangen, everybody is talking about the Kangen story. They talk about Mr. Oshiro, Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro. They talk about the history, the company, the factory. They talk about the product. But they forgot to talk about their own story. Do you know that you have your own story that people will buy from you anytime because of your story? I mean, everybody knows. If today I go to the Google, I can easily find Mr. Oshiro's story. I can find Energic story. But people are going to buy from people they trust and believe. Do you all understand? Do you all agree with me on that? If people are going to buy from people they trust and believe, they need to know your story. And that's where I'm very good at. So do you all always notice every time when I have an interview, when people interview me, or when I do my talk, my training, especially my Kangen Power team who is listening to my talk right now, do you all realize every time when we do our leadership training and I'm up there, I always talk about my story, right? Why do I talk about my story? It's because my story relates to you. My story has a attraction factor that you want to do what I'm also doing. So always remember, if you want to sell business today, forget about Kangen for a while, forget about Energic, forget about whatever business you are doing. Take a A4 paper, or if you want, use your laptop or whatever it is, write down a simple story of yourself. Your story will sell like hotcake, I'm telling you, okay? Because your story is relatable. Remember, we are not robots. We are not computers. We are not system. We are people. And people always buy from stories. I can relate to you. You can relate to me. I buy from you. Remember that. Very, very, very important. Always have stories to tell. So these are some health stories. Then, of course, we also show some wealth stories. We cannot show checks and all that. So we always tell people, people that are earning, certain types of income. And then how would you like to have passive income, residual income, freedom, lifestyle? So we not only show money for those of you who wants to sell business. I don't only show money. I don't show money actually. I show lifestyle. I show about the places I go. I show about what type of life that with my family, I bring them to this place, that place, everywhere. Stories like that, people will buy because when they relate to you, when they look at you, I still remember somebody told me, I still remember this was quite in my early years of my career. I think it was 2012, 1 year after I started my business. And this person told me, he says, Gary, actually, I have no interest at all whatsoever in your Kangen water. He's not even interested in the water. Okay, he's not in. I mean, I did show him how good the water is and all that. I did the demo and all that, but he's not interested. But he bought and he started doing the business. Today he's I think a 6A2 if I'm not mistaken. You know what he told me? He says, Gary, but I am super impressed with your lifestyle, and I'm impressed with the amount that you can make in the Energic business. So you know what, guys? Some people buy because of the business. Some people buy because of the product. You never know. That's why I said, guys, if you are in Kangen, you need to show both. But of course, whatever you do, you must show the business because ultimately you want a network of distributors to be building the business together with you, right? So you need to. But whatever it is, sometimes people buy A, sometimes people buy B. But because I share with him my story, where I came from, 19 years old, left school, started work. From there until here, then where I am today, I have all this. When he heard my story, he was so impressed. He took up the business. He wanted to do the business. He has no knowledge in network marketing, but he saw my story. He says, if a 19-year-old guy with no paper qualification, with no academic qualification, today can be so successful because of this company, because of this opportunity, I can do better. And he is quite an elderly person. So he went and he did it and he made it. Today he's a 6A2. Okay, so remember that, guys. remember, always have your story to tell. Number 4, always have supporting materials to show. Now, I've seen so many people that goes out and do presentation with nothing. They don't even have a pen. So when they have nothing, and then they keep on talking, they talk morning until evening, evening until morning, you know, and people don't believe them. Because why? Remember, seeing is believing. Unfortunately, a lot of people need to see before they believe. So I still remember in my early days when I was doing all this presentation, I always have my iPad, or even the earliest days, even before iPad, you know what we do, especially for all our leaders in our group, our distributors, our members in our team, I used to print and insert into these folders. Those days, we are talking about 9 years ago, not everybody have iPad lah, you know. So what we do is we print all these materials and we used to slide it into folders and we used to distribute it out to our members. And that's how they are using those things to show people, because we know it is important. You need to show people this information. If you don't show things like the WQA certificate and you talk, oh, we have the WQA, we have the this, we have that. I mean, who is going, number one, who is going to believe you? Number two, they won't even remember what you say because it's all just talking, right? Remember, Daniel Dimicali talks a lot about documentation beats conversation. Always documentation. So remember, okay, today, if you have a much bigger phone like this, you know, you may want to show your phone, you know, show the information, but at least have something to show. You need to show people, because all this information that you show people will create a different perceived value, in their head about your solution to their problem. Now they have a problem. When you already identify their problem, you create the pain point that is so pain. Now is your time to give them a solution. But if you have nothing concrete to show them in your solution, even if they have a problem, they may not buy from you. How many of y'all are guilty showing something they don't buy from you, and then after a few months or few years later, the same people buy from another person? How many of y'all? Put a me there. Okay, I won't read your name. put a me there if you are guilty. You show somebody that thing, and then they end up buying from somebody else. You know, there are people who are like that, because sometimes maybe they you know, I have so many, do you know, in my 9 years, I've got so many people come and join me, but they listen to the first presentation from somebody else. Can you imagine that? I mean, they didn't join that person, they come and join me or my team members. Why? They said that site never have this, never have that, never show me this, never show me that, never have. So you don't want to be in the category where you show people, you talk to people something, and then they end up buying from somebody else. So remember, always have supporting materials to show your potential buyer. Very, very important. Very seriously important. Okay. Now, number 5, this one is very powerful, but I notice a lot of people don't do it. Now, if you all look at me, okay, I use myself as a role model. Why do I keep my physique? Why do I keep my looks? Why do I keep everything? Even I go to the extent of having special diet or working out to have all this amazing physique, is because my business is tied directly to health. Okay, it's tied directly to health. So can you imagine if I'm walking around with a belly, with a beer belly, or I look sick all the time, you know, I've got no energy, how on earth am I going to tell people that I can solve their health problem when I am an example of a health problem? I mean, you think about this. I mean, does it make sense? It makes sense, right? So be an example. And you know, a lot of times, I'm not sure how many of y'all have this same experience, but I've had this experience over and over. A lot of time, the moment I just talk to them, they already want to buy, because they look at my skin, they saw my skin, they saw my physique, they look at me and say, wow, Gary, you look like 30s, you don't, or early 30s, you don't even look like in your 40s. Wow, Gary, you are this. Wow, Gary, you make that kind of income. I want to be like you. So be an example, be a life model. Now, if you are doing Kangen, just like me, if you are in the Kangen business, please, for heaven's sake, two things. Make sure you drink a lot of the water. I've seen people, I mean, I don't want to mention names. I've seen people, they don't, I mean, if you notice, nearly everywhere I go, I carry my bottle. Even if I go to a restaurant, I put the bottle on the table. Why do I do that? Because I am leaving an example. I want people to see that Kangen is Gary, Gary is Kangen, Kangen is Gary, Gary is Kangen. And if ever I'm going to drink something, it's going to be Kangen water. Unless for certain reason, I cannot bring the bottle. For certain reason, I don't have that water with me. Okay. But I've seen some people doing it totally opposite. Okay. And then don't forget, not just only about drinking water in Kangen, especially to my Kangen friends, not just only about drinking water. Your diet is very important. The food you eat, the exercise, the mindset, all this will create a look for you that you are either attracting or rejecting the customer. Do you all know that? You know, and another example, if you want to sell business, if you want people to join you in your business, you somehow must look successful. Okay, guys, I'm not here to asking you to, go and borrow money to buy a sports car, borrow money to flash your lifestyle. No, but at least do enough in a short period of time. Do massive action so that you can make as much money as you can in the shortest period, so that you can show an example to tell people, hey, look, this business works. If you want to sell business, you see, if you want to sell your product, Kangen water, then you must show that your water works with all the testimony. But if you want to show your business, if you want to sell your business, if you want people to join you and build the business, you must somehow show them that the business works. And the only way to show them is your result. So I always tell and advise my new people, in the shortest period of time, let's say in the first 3 to 6 months, try to get as much result as you can, because that will make you an example that people will want to follow you. Do you understand that? It's very important. Be an example, be a life model. Because remember, people join people who they believe and trust. And I always still remember this image in my head. I got this couple that came to talk to me about a health product. This was many years ago, way before Kangen, before Enagic, and I think many years, I think maybe 15 years ago. I still remember this couple came to talk to me about health product, network marketing, health product, and they were smoking away. Can you imagine? I really don't know what to tell you, but can you imagine the guy was smoking away and telling me about how important we must have good health? You don't want to be in that position. So of course, there's a real extreme case, right? Obviously, I didn't join him. Obviously, I didn't buy any of the product. But what I'm trying to say is, be an example. If you want to be the model of Kangen, okay? If you want to be the model of Kangen, please have this with you every single day. Everywhere you go, just anywhere that people see you, you'll be drinking this. You are an example, and the business part. All right? So when you sell value, you don't have to worry about the price. Many years ago, I was taught this idea. If you were to walk into a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce, let's say we take it to the highest level. If you were to walk into a Rolls Royce dealership, I know I'm very sure there are my Cambodian team that are here listening to my session today. My Cambodian team like to use the term Rolls Royce, and I know Heng Anderson, I think you are listening here. You love to use the example of Rolls Royce. Yeah. So Rolls Royce is seen as the highest level of car, brand in the world. So can you imagine if you walk into a Rolls Royce dealership, Do you think the salesperson is ever apologetic about the price of the car? Do you think they feel so ashamed when they tell you that the car is $350,000 or $500,000? They will not even blink an eye when they mention this car is $350,000. They don't even blink the eye. You know why? Because they are so confident. They are so convinced of what the Rolls-Royce is all about. They are so confident with the brand, with the product, with the quality that they have no issue mentioning the word 350,000 one car. My question to you, are you that confident when you are telling people your water machine is $5,000? Are you confident? You see, I still remember a lot of time, a lot of people in the early days, they come to me, they say, Gary, I have a big challenge. And I ask them, what is your challenge? He says, I don't even dare to mention the price when the customer asks me how much is it. You know, there are people who have that mindset block that they themselves feels that the product that they are selling is expensive. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you yourself thinks that your product is expensive, how are you going to get the customer to buy from you? I mean, think about this. So you must be very convinced that your product is actually very, very cheap. Okay. Now, those of y'all, okay, those of y'all who wants to know a tip on how to get that, if y'all want to get, how many of y'all wants a tip? Okay, let me see. How many of y'all wants a tip to actually show your customer that your product is actually very, very cheap? Give me a one. Give me a one. If those of y'all who, let me see here, give me a one. Those of y'all who wants to know a tip how you can actually make your, and I'm talking about high ticket item. I'm not talking of if you are selling some cheap stuff. I'm saying if you have a high ticket item, how many of y'all are willing, who wants to know? Okay, I just give you all a mission, very simple. Those of y'all who wants to know later, okay, you just need to share this video in your posting. Those that I see you share this in your posting, I will send you a link on how you can actually make your high ticket item into a price that everybody will think is very cheap. I got a secret formula. Okay, share this video. You just go to the Facebook, Jeffrey, later you can just put the Facebook link again. Okay, go to the Facebook link, share this video into your posting, into your Facebook, and I will share you a link which I teach you how you can actually make your high ticket item, the price, it can be a $350,000 or $500,000 product, and you can make it into so cheap that people will just want to buy it. It's a no-brainer. Okay, all you need to do, just go to the Facebook link, share it in your Facebook, and I'll send you that link. All right, now when you sell value, you don't have to worry about the price. Guys, if you walk into a car dealership like Rolls-Royce, you go to Rolex, the Rolex, what you call the Rolex retail center. You go to high-end, very high-end wine cellar. You know, they can easily take out a bottle of wine that is $2,000 and they tell you this is the best buy. They don't blink their eye. You know why? Because they are so confident in that product. They know the value of it so much, and they know that you will buy if you know the value. Okay, so that's where the process have to take place. The value selling has to take place. Why you will even buy $2,000 for a bottle of wine. Okay, so when you sell value, you don't have to worry about the price. Now, how many of y'all can I see in this Zoom webinar? How many of y'all always have a discounting issue? How many of y'all, every time you present and then your customer always asks for a discount? Can I see a one? Or put a me there. Let me see how many of y'all. How many of y'all have a discounting issue? Every time you present, then people always ask for discount. Or that person give me, this person give me, that person give me. How many got this problem? Give me a me. Put a me there. Discounting issue. Then you complain, you say, hey, you know what, this product, everybody giving discount. How many got discounting issue? put a me. Only so few guys. I see so many people here, 57 people, only so few people got me, man. Hey, be a bit honest, man, guys. If you all really got discounting issue, I'm going to give you a solution for this. If you have discounting issue, put a me there. Okay, how many of y'all? Come on. Laksha, Kong, Angeline, Catherine. Who else got the discounting issue? After you present everything, you show them the value of your product, you know their problem, and then they ask you for a price discount. Okay, Abel. Okay, good. Now, you see, guys, again, I want to tell you this. Now, this is not spiritual, but this is my belief. It is basically me. I'm not saying it has to be you, but this is me. I always personally feel that the people that are meant to buy from me will buy from me. The people that are not meant to buy from me will not buy from me. And therefore, when people ask me for a discount that I will not give, I mean, of course, if I can give, if I'm not talking about Kangen, let's say other things, like let's say I also run a printing business that I know that I can give a special pricing. It's not a discount, a special pricing, because for a certain reason I will give. Other than that, let's say if it's Kangen, if it's, I'm not allowed to give. Most of you all know in Kangen, in Egypt, we are not supposed to give discount, and I don't give. So when I don't give a discount, I always prime myself in this manner. I always tell myself, the right people will buy from me. The people that are not meant to buy from me will not buy from me. And therefore, when I said there's no discount, if the person see the value that I can give, it's no more about Kangen. The value that I can give, like for example, if I sell the business and I tell them I can do this, and this for you, and you can see this as a value, I don't give a discount. Why? Because I can do this and this that can give you even more benefit than the discount. If you can see that, you will buy from me. But even if I present this to you and you cannot see that value in what I'm going to give you, and you still insist for a discount, I will say, go for the people out there. There are a lot of people who give discount, but I don't give. So I don't want, because I always know that there are people that will buy from me and there are people that will not buy from me. Simple as that. So discounting is never an issue. I mean, very simple. Let me tell you, let me ask you this. All of you are also a buyer. All of you are also a buyer. You all also have been guilty to ask for discount, right? In whatever you buy. I'm not talking of Kangen. Maybe you buy a shower head, or you buy a house, or you buy a phone. You know, human nature is like this, right? Every time if you can get a discount, you will ask you know, hey, can I get a better price? Can I have a discount? You know, this is normal. Everybody would want a better deal. But if you cannot give that discount, substitute it by giving value. Okay, so the value that I usually give is the things that I can do for them that is going to give them more than the discount. Okay, like for example, if I am able to make them a machine for free, why would they want a discount? Let's say in the next 3 months, if they can get 8 units of Kangen machine into their group sale, they'll be getting a free machine. And I have the resources, my team have the resources to help them to do that. Why do you want a discount when we can do that? Better than I give you a discount and then I don't bother you. Then you can't even get a free machine. That's going to be even lesser than the discount, right? So what I'm trying to say is, when you sell value, don't worry about the price. Everybody will have a perceived value of that price. My question is, are you able to sell that value so powerful that people is going to buy from you? That's very important. Okay. Now, what happened here? Okay. Now, Starbucks is not selling coffee. They are selling relaxation and culture. Do you all agree? How many of y'all agree that Starbucks is actually not selling coffee? Okay. How many of y'all, if you agree with me on this statement, put a me there. Put a me there for me. Okay. Let me see how many of y'all put me there. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I can see. Yeah, me, both. Okay, Angeline said both. Now, do you all know why I can tell you about, do you all know why I can tell you specifically about Starbucks? I have a printing company that I print specifically Starbucks job. So Starbucks is actually my customer, okay, in my printing company, okay, which my brother is running. So the information that I know about Starbucks is they are very into culture. It's a culture building. Yes, their product is, that's why it's the same. Your product is like water. But my question is, why would anybody pay $3 to $5 for a cup of Starbucks coffee when I can get a $1 coffee from a coffee shop here, a 50-cent coffee from a coffee shop here, especially in Malaysia, where you can get coffee for only 60 cents, 50 cents, US dollars, right? So you convert it, is about 50, 60 cents. Why would somebody pay $5 for a cup of coffee compared to a 50 cent? Have you ever seen anybody walk into a Starbucks coffee and complain to the front counter waiter and say, hey, you are crazy. Why are you selling expensive Starbucks why are you selling expensive coffee? Nobody does that, right? Because everybody knows that Starbucks, when you go to a Starbucks, you want more than just coffee. Yes, of course, obviously you want to drink coffee lah. But you go there for the environment. You go there for the certain culture, you know. If you look at there's a book written by the founder of Starbucks. They talk about that coffee culture, the culture that they created. So it's a relaxation and a culture value that Starbucks is selling. It's not just only about coffee. You think about it seriously. Is it only about coffee? If you just want to drink a cup of coffee, probably, and a lot of people actually told me that, hey, you know what? Starbucks coffee is not really nice. They can even get better, cheaper coffee outside. But when you go to Starbucks, it's all about that culture, the relaxation, that you know, that image, you know, you want to have, you know, in a Starbucks. Similarly, okay? Similarly, Ferrari is not just selling cars. They are selling crazy driving pleasure and elegance. Do you all agree? I mean, if you think about this, who walks into a Ferrari dealership wanting just to buy a car that can take them to from A to B? I think nobody will think about buying a Ferrari just because they want a car that can take them from A to B. No, anybody that walks into a Ferrari dealership and buy a $500,000 car is because they want, maybe even it's more the image, you know. It's nothing to do with that 4 tires, the steering wheel, and the aircon in the car. I'm telling you this, you know, it's all about that image, you know. You drive your car right in front of the hotel, you come out from the car, the people that greets you, the people that see you, or you park your car right in your house, in front of your house, the car appear in a magazine. That has nothing to do with a 4-wheel and a steering wheel. I'm telling you, people don't buy a Ferrari because of a car. So the value in that Ferrari is that image. When you see a Ferrari, you somehow associate, oh, that person must be successful. That person must be rich. Wow, that person must be somebody special. It's that image that person creates when he buys a Ferrari. So that value. So ask yourself, what is the value of the business that you are in? The product that you are selling, the services that you are selling, what is that real intrinsic value? Okay. Likewise, okay, Rolex is not selling watches. They are selling luxury feeling and confidence and success. You know what? When I start to look at it, I mean, it is so, how should I say? It is so funny that the guys and the girls that are wearing Rolex watch, they are not even looking at the time. Do you know that? I have seen some people wearing Rolex watches and they are looking at the time from their handphone. They're looking at the time from their handphone. What is that Rolex doing? That is not even a watch. That is a symbol of success. So can you imagine? People will pay 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 for watches. And then you have other watches that people only pay $50 or $100 for. So what's the difference? Is it just because it's telling time? The Rolex is telling time? No. The value, the reason why people are paying so expensive for that is because they see that value for that watch. It's not just time telling. And you think about it, doesn't it make sense that if you are wearing a Rolex today, or you are wearing a Seiko, or you are wearing a Timex, it tells the same time? So if you are just want to compare time, you don't need to buy Rolex. If you just want to buy a watch to tell you time, you don't need to buy a Rolex, guys. You can buy a $50 watch. In fact, you can buy a $10 watch and it will tell you the same time with a Rolex. Do you all get what I'm saying? So it's not just about telling time. It's that luxury feeling, confidence, and success. So now my question to you, okay? But before that, let me give you the last example. Hilton Hotel. Okay, it can be Hilton, it can be St. Regis, it can be Four Seasons, it can be Shangri-La Hotel. Now, they are not just selling hotels. Yeah, it is a hotel. We all know they are hotels. But the value that they carry, the value that they are selling is about comfort and peace of mind. It's about comfort, peace of mind. In fact, it's also about image. You know, when you go and stay in Four Seasons, when you stay in Shangri-La, in Hilton, it portrays you as a person that has made it successful. Comparing if you stay in a budget hotel. Can you imagine if I want to go and talk multi-million-dollar deal and I walked out from a budget hotel? I mean, can you imagine what is the first impression that people think of me, right? So a lot of time, high-end hotels, 5-star, 6-star. In fact, I was in this hotel called the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. Those hotels, some of the rooms in those hotels are selling for $25,000. Who will even pay $25,000? And people are paying. Okay, guys, seriously, people are paying for that kind of money to stay in a hotel. Are you telling me that the hotel is? I mean, are you telling me a budget hotel and that hotel is different in terms of sleeping? I mean, that hotel have bed, have shower. Budget hotel also have bed and shower, right? But it's not just about that bed, that shower, or whatever it is, or the aircon. It's the value behind the high-end things and why people are willing to pay. The peace of mind, the comfort, the image, the luxury, the service, the standard, the consistency of the quality. All these are the value. So my question to you is, what is your value of the product that you are selling? So I always tell people this: Enagic is not just selling a water ionizer, but the end result, the value of the product that we are selling is health, good health, wealth, happiness, and hope every single day. Do you all know there's the last part there that I talk about hope every day? Do you know that is one of the things that everybody is looking for, especially in the COVID-19 era now? People are somehow dying for hope. There are a lot of people who are struggling, guys. Are you going out there to give them hope? Whether it's a health, whether it's wealth, or whether it's happiness, they are looking for hope every day. So remember, if you just look at the company as selling a water machine, so that is like you are looking at Rolex just selling a watch. But Rolex is not just selling a watch. The value that comes with it is abundance, is health, wealth, happiness for your Kangen business. So when you are positioning your Kangen business, you want to know what you are going to do for the customer, what you are going to do for the buyer. Why must they buy your $5,000 product? And are you confident enough to sell them this idea of health, wealth, and happiness? Because you must be the first person to be able to sell for yourself. If you are not able to sell yourself, how are you going to sell to others? Like I told you that example just now, if that person is not even confident to tell the price to the customer because he himself thinks that the price is expensive, how is he going to convince the other person? So it is very, very important that you need to know. Now, remember, okay, this is my last message that I want to share with you. Remember this, people are always looking to buy valuable things, not just a cheap thing. So what I'm trying to mean here is, you put yourself as a consumer yourself, you put yourself as a buyer yourself. When you pay for something, when you pay for a product, for a service, or for an opportunity, what are you paying for? You definitely must be paying for something that you think is of value to you. You are not just going to pay for something, oh, I want the cheapest things in the world. You are not going there. Let's say, can you imagine if you have a health issue, a very serious health issue, okay? Would you go out and look for the cheapest doctor? Think about this. You go to the internet, you go and Google the internet. You said, let's say you have a bad health, a bad heart problem. You go and look for, I'm looking for the cheapest cardiologist. You won't look that, you won't even think of looking for the cheapest solution provider, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, you are looking to solve your problem. You are looking for something that can solve your problem, that can do the best job possible. Guys, thank you. Now, remember, people are buying things every day. People are spending money even now. I'm telling you, guys, remember, even now during the COVID-19 era, people are buying, people are spending money every single day. The only question is, will they spend the money on you? That is the question you need to ask. If people are spending money, means there is a need to be fulfilled. There is a problem to be solved. There is a pain to be solved. There is a pain in somebody's life in a corporate, if let's say you are doing corporate business, there is a pain in the corporate world that needs to be solved. Question is, are you solving that problem effectively? Are you showing the value of your product to be able to solve that problem? If you are, the answer will be, they will definitely buy from you. That is for sure. I am guaranteeing you this. Every day, there are people buying things. Every day, there are people spending money. My question is, are you able to solve their problem, to show the value of their product that can potentially solve their problem? If you are, they will buy from you. There is no question about that. All right, guys. So I hope today's session give you that idea, give you that realization that you need to know to bring your sales result to a next level. Okay, maybe some of you are already doing this. Maybe some of you already know this basic principle. Maybe some of you are already doing this very effectively and getting good results. But if you don't know, if some of you are very new to sales, some of you actually even think of sales as a bad word. You know, there are a lot of people who don't like this word called sales. Why? Because maybe from small to young, they always think that, oh, salespeople are no good people. Sales is ripping off people. Sales is trying to take money from people. But what if I tell you, sales is about solving people's problem. Sales is about giving people a solution to the problem. Sales is about solving their pain in their life. If you can start to look at sales at that level, then you will know that sales is actually a very noble job. You are solving the world's problem. You're solving people's problem. You are a savior to the world. You think about this, right? So guys, I'm going to stop share here. All right. So Jeffrey, wow, already 2 hours, 10 o'clock already. I didn't even notice. Awesome. So Jeffrey, are there any questions from the floor before we call today's session to an end?
Let me see. No questions so far.
Wow, everybody no question. All become professional sales presenter. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so if there's no further question, before I end, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a very quick announcement, and I'm just going to once again remind all of y'all. Let me do a screen share of our up and coming session this coming Tuesday. Let me close this. Where is that? Where is that? Oh, wait a minute. Share screen. Okay. Now, September 14. Okay. So for those of y'all that are on the Zoom webinar or you're on Facebook Live, basically, remember next Tuesday, this is Pacific Standard Time. So this is US time, okay? Like Los Angeles, California. This is their time, is September 14, Monday at 8 p.m. But for us in Asia, most part of Asia, it is September 15. It's a Tuesday at 11 a.m. in the morning. So if you are in Malaysia, you are in Perth, Australia, you are in Philippines, it is September 15 on Tuesday, 11 a.m. in the morning. We are going to have our up close and personal one-to-one, first time in Enagic history. We are going to have an interview where I'm going to interview Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro. There will be a lot of very emotional questions that we will ask, and a lot of emotional feedback that comes. We will also know about Mr. Oshiro's mindset, his heartbeat, his direction for the whole Enagic business and the distributors in Enagic. So you don't want to miss this. You want to bring all your people to this session. As I told you, it is very, very highly advertised in America. So there'll be a lot of people jumping into this call. You may want to come in early, because if not, then you can only see it on Facebook Live. But if you want to join the Zoom session, please be early. There'll be a lot of people. There's only seats for 500 people. So I strongly encourage you, bring all your people. This is the first time in Enagic history that we are going to do this, okay? So you may want to bring your people to this session. All right. So guys, I've come to the end of today's session. I hope that you all get value. How many of y'all have got value from today's session? Can I okay, I think Jeffrey, there are some questions I can actually see from the chat box. Do you see?
they just posted right now. We actually have 2 questions that just came in.
Okay, maybe we'll just answer 2, because it's already 10:10, so we'll just answer 2 questions. Yeah.
From Laksha, how do we deal with people who say they have never heard of Kangen Water or the company Enagic, as they don't trust the product?
Awesome. So to answer that question, Laksha, very simple. People buy from people they know and believe and trust. So if that person have not heard of your product, your company, simply means they don't know about you. So what you need to do, you need to educate them. Who is Enagic? Who is Kangen? Show them some demonstration, show them some information, show them some facts. And if you need to, let them try the water. The beautiful part about Enagic, about Kangen water, is people can try your product. So let them try the product. So all these are leading to getting to know you. Okay, yes, you are right. They have never heard of Enagic. They have never heard of Kangen. That is your role, to get them to know about us. Okay, so show them videos, show them, send them information. Let them try the water, show them a demonstration, do everything you need to get them to know about Kangen. Okay.
The next one is from Mike. What is the most difficult sales scenario you have encountered with Enagic business opportunity?
Okay, for the business opportunity, the worst scenario, basically, they don't believe. Okay, and I've come to a point that I never try to convince, because I always believe that there are some people who will join me, some people who won't. So when I show the business presentation, I just do my best to show them the information. At the end of the day, even I can show them the best thing, and yet they don't believe, I can't do anything. that is not my job. That is the job of the above. Okay, so at the end of the day, even after I show everything, I convince them everything, I show them the pictures of the things that I have and everything, and they still don't believe, I will tell them, it's nice showing you. I hope you consider this for your family, for yourself. But if you are open in any way in the future, you want to know more, always feel free to check back with me. I can show you. And then I just leave the thing. I mean, I can't be like forcing them to join me. I can only play my part by introducing them, by showing them. At the end of the day, it is still them making the decision. So if I've done all that I can to show them why they need this thing, and yet they still can't see it, they don't want it, I walk away. That's it. All right, Jeffrey?
All right, great. That's
okay.
it.
Awesome. So guys, I hope you guys had a valuable time today. As usual, please share this video to all your people, to your team members. You may want to share it to everybody in your Facebook, in every social media, because somebody out there may need to hear this training today. Somebody out there may need to hear these tips today, because these tips is not just a tip. It may be a life changer to somebody who wants to venture into sales. So I strongly encourage you, go to our Facebook page, do the live streaming, go and share the video. And if you are kind enough, I strongly encourage you all to leave a comment. Okay, leave a comment of how you feel of today's session. And if it does help you, in the future, I also would strongly encourage you to write us some comments that you have benefited from this session. Okay, guys. So once again, thank you for your time. It's been a great 2 hours sharing with you all this information. I wish you all the very best in your health, in your business, and in all your future undertaking. So Jeffrey, there's nothing more, right?
Yes, there's nothing more.
Okay. So with this, I thank you all for your participation and see you all in our next training next Thursday. But before that, Tuesday is the up close and personal with none other than Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro. And with this, I will unmute everybody. Let me just unmute everybody. Okay. Okay, guys, you all can unmute yourself. So, guys, are you all able to unmute yourself?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All the best in
Bye.
job. Go out there and
The
sell
best.
as many as you can. Get all your customers to buy.
Gary.
Give them the best value, solve their problem, and make this world a better place. Let's be the miracle the world is waiting for. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everybody.